He spoke and sang in 15 different languages and thrilled audiences worldwide, singing their folk songs, identifying with their plight, and served to inspire and motivate them in their struggle for more humane treatment and a better life. He refused to discriminate between race or national origin or political persuasion, speaking through these barriers to connect with the common people. Paul Robeson never separated his work as an artist from his work as a human being. Isn't this the type of individual that would make more sense for us to hold up as role models for our children than some of the athletes and entertainers that are pushed out in front of us by the mass media? Basketball, in my opinion, is a wonderful game. I enjoy playing it and I enjoy watching it. And I'll still take some of you youngsters to the hoop. But in my opinion, basketball has become like a plague in poor and underserved neighborhoods. It uses up all your youthful energy and leaves you with very little, even nothing in return, only hoop dreams. And for poor and underserved neighborhoods, it's thrown out like a cheap alternative to structured supervised programs for our young people that could actually provide some mentoring or constructive guidance along with recreation. You remember midnight basketball? Why can't we have a midnight computer center? These superstar athletes spend all of their youth on the playground, bouncing balls, passing balls, running with balls, barely learning anything about life or the world we're living in. And I'll tell you, if we're going to resolve any of the serious problems affecting our neighborhoods, then maybe we should start getting in the face of some of these superstar athletes, entertainers, and yes, even some of these politicians. And maybe start breaking some, you know what? And then let's look at this thing. We should use these ball games and other sports, and even the martial arts, as training grounds, preparing us for higher aspirations. Use them, and don't be used by them. Use the sports to further your education, and don't turn your mind off once you get into college and step on the playing field. Paul Robeson played football on weekends while he went to law school. He had higher aspirations. Our Kung Fu Academy and Leadership Institute teaches and inspires our young people to have higher aspirations as well. Admire Mike, then research the life of Paul Robeson, and then be yourself. I don't separate my life as a martial artist from my life as a human being. Paul Robeson never separated his work as an artist from his work as a human being. But you know, it's not just athletics that's been compromised, but almost every profession and industry has been reduced to how it can generate wealth, empower in an exploitative manner, or a means for self-aggrandizement of some individual, with little regard to the industry's value as a much-needed function or service in the society. The current Pope recently said that the United States is quickly becoming a soulless society. You know, I'm almost finished. But during my childhood, I never heard the words of Kung Fu or karate, or even martial arts. My first exposure was through James Bond movies and Bruce Lee and television series like The Green Hornet. But like others of my generation, regardless of your pastime, it was impossible not to be affected by the powerful social and human rights movements gaining momentum in this country around and By the time I enrolled in high school, I had watched Dr. King lead his followers through some of the most danger-filled parts of the South, armed only with their faith and belief in their righteous cause. And marching with Dr. King and supporting him with everything they had were entertainers Harry Belafonte and Dick Gregory. And by the time I finished high school, President John F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, Banquet had been assassinated, soon to be followed by the murders of Dr. King and Robert Kennedy. And then Muhammad Ali, as he likes to say, shook up the world, not necessarily with what he did in the ring, but with the stand he took against the war in Vietnam, which Dr. King so strongly spoke against in the years before his death. But what impressed me about some of these individuals as a young man was how they never waited to speak truth to power or challenge the mighty oppression of an unjust society without concern to the effect on their status, position, or potential loss of earnings. They never separated their work and their careers from their work in life as human beings. And now today, Martin dead, Medgar dead, Malcolm dead, Paul Robeson dead. Where are the individuals today who, by their example, are instructing today's generation in the qualities of character required to be effective leaders? Where can we find them? I think we'll find them right here in this room tonight. That leader is sitting at your table. He or she is wearing your clothes, eating your food, drinking your soda. And that's the person who's going to get at the root of some of the problems and then demand of the city managers. And that's what the politicians are. They're not leaders. And demand from them what is needed and then hold them accountable. The Hometown Choy Leadership Institute is training our students to work and study hard to make their life a meaningful one to themselves as well as others. We're training our students to be able to stand one day as one of the bright and shining examples for their generation, as Martin, Medgar, Malcolm, and Paul were for mine. The Hometown Choy Kung Fu Academy and Leadership Institute teaches fighting, yes, but know that the intense training we're putting you through is preparation for the greater and more important battles that have to be fought. If you must fight, then fight to rid our community of drugs and violence. Fight for better schools for our children and more humane treatment of our elders and those who are less fortunate. Fight with the mayor and city council for better representation. And fight with the Congress and Senate for a country that lives up to the ideals which it professes to stand for. And fight through your ballots in November to put somebody in the house down the street that will work with the international community to improve the living conditions of people throughout the world. That's what we want for our students. Thank you, ladies.